Hi guys, this is Mrs. LeBeau, and today in Reader's Workshop, we are going to look at a reading strategy called questioning. Last time with Miss Hess, we worked on the strategy visualizing, and today I want to teach you that readers think more deeply about their book by asking questions. So I want you third graders to grab your reader's notebook. That's the one with the tabs in it that says My Reader's Notebook on the front. And I want you to go to the next available page right after visioning, right after envisioning, right, and picturing. And I want you to turn the page and put at the top the date. So today is September 10th, 2020. And you're going to write questioning, okay? And you can go ahead and pause this video to get the materials you need. Great. Hopefully you have your reader's notebook and you've written questioning at the top with the date. So I want you to write this. Readers think more deeply about their book by asking questions. Then I put many question words here like who, what, when, where, how. I could write why. That's a great one. I'm going to add that one. Okay, so readers, I want you to go ahead and pause, and I want you to write that statement at the top. Readers think more deeply about their book by asking questions. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Go ahead and pause to give yourself time to write that. Okay, readers, so I'm going to read you this book called Mango, Abuela, and Me. And it's written by Meg Medina and illustrated by Angela Dominguez. Okay, watch me as I read this book, and we're going to try and look for some questions that come up as we read. Okay. I'll show you the picture. Okay. She comes to us in the winter, leaving behind her sunny house that rested between two snaking rivers. Her old place was too much for just one, Mommy tells me, as we make room in my dresser for her clothes. And too far away for us to help, Poppy adds. Abuela belongs with us now, Mia. But I still feel shy when I meet this faraway grandmother. So I'm guessing that this is Mia, and a question that just popped up as I read this. I said, where did Abuela live? And then I thought, is she moving or visiting? Then I went back and I noticed this part that said, Abuela belongs to us now, so I can assume that she's moving. But I'm wondering where it was that she moved from. So maybe you want to write right here. I'm going to move my Post-it, but you can write it with words. Where did Abuela live? Now I know Abuela means grandma in Spanish. So go ahead and pause and write that question. Okay. Pin, pon, pun. Poppy unfolds Abuela's bed and slides it right next to mine. You will get to know each other, he says. But when I show Abuela my new book, she can't unlock the English words. She can only look at the pictures and watch Edmund race on his wheel. I'm guessing, I was wondering who's Edmund, but I'm guessing now that that's the hamster. Then, just before we turn out the light, she pulls out two things tucked into the satin pocket of her suitcase. I wonder what it is that she's going to pull out. She looks a little bit like unsettled or worried to me. Okay, be thinking about a few of questions as we read. A feather, una pluma, from a wild parrot that roosted in her mango trees, and a snapshot, una fotografía, of a young man with Poppy's smile. Tu abuelo, she says, climbing into bed, snuggling in my pajamas. I smell flowers in her hair, sugar and cinnamon baked into her skin. That night, I dream of a red bird circling in the sky. So her grandma, her abuela, gave her a feather. And I had a question. At first, I was wondering, who is the man in the fotografía? That means photograph. Who is that man? If I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking maybe that's her. Tu abuelo is her grandpa. That and it says that the man had Poppy's smile, and that's what she calls her dad. So maybe that's her dad's dad, her grandpa. So on my chart here, I'm going to also write that down. Okay, I'm going to move my Post-it, but I would like you to write it down. Who is the man in the fotografía, or the photograph? Okay, go ahead and pause and do that. She still has that worried face. The rest of the winter, while Mommy and Poppy are at work, Abuela waits for me to get home from school. When we bundle up in thick socks and handmade sweaters to walk to the park and toss bread to the sparrows. Oh, excuse me, then we bundle up. So it is winter and it's cold where they are in winter. My Espanol is not good enough to tell her the things an abuelo should know. Like how I am the very best in art and how I can run as fast as the boys. So I'm guessing that they're spending some time together, but they're not doing a lot of talking because she said her Espanol is not good enough, meaning her Spanish. So that was kind of a question I had. And I'm wondering if you were wondering the same thing. How do you get to know each other when you don't speak the same language? So that's the question that I wrote down. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my paper too. Okay, so we're getting lots of questions. I'm going to slide these up, but you can just write them on your page. Okay, so she wants to tell about the art and how she's a fast runner, but she doesn't have the words. And her English is too poquito to tell me all the stories I want to know about Abuelo and the rivers that ran right outside their door. With our mouths as empty as bread baskets, we walk back home and watch TV. So their bread baskets are empty and their mouths are too. You might be wondering what that means. Okay, I was wondering, what does mouths as empty as bread baskets mean? Well, when I think about it, if their mouths are empty, maybe they're not saying much. And their bread baskets, they didn't get any bread, or they're very hungry, right? Okay, so that was a question I had. Now, as I read the rest of the story, I want you to jot down a question you have as we read. So as I read, I'm just going to read the rest of the story. I want you to pause and see if you can write down 1 or 2 more questions about the book. So it can be a who, what, when, where, why, or how. Okay. Abuela and I can't understand each other, I whisper to Mommy. Things will get better, Mommy says. Remember how it was with Kim? Kim was my best friend at school. When she was new, our whole class helped teach her English words. Now, Miss Wilson sometimes has to say, "Please be quiet, girls. Others are working." So it sounds like her friend Kim learned very quickly. After school, the next day, while Abuela and I are making meat pies for our snack, I pretend I am Miss Wilson. Dough, I say, pointing to the ball. Abuela says, dough, masa, and rolls it flat. Masa, I say. She drops a spoonful of meat in place. Carne. Carne, I say. Meat. Pasas. Raisins. And aceite, I think. Oil. So I notice that they're teaching each other as they make something. Maybe you're wondering what they're making. That could be a question. Then I remember the word cards we taped in our classroom to help Kim. So while Abuela finishes our empanadas, they answered our question, I put up word cards too until everything is covered, even Edmund. Do you remember who Edmund was? The hamster? Yeah. Soon we are playing Oi Idi, hear and say, all around the house. But that night, she still calls my pillow Apollo, and she calls Edmund, the hamster, a gangster. We'll keep practicing, I whisper. But the next day, I cannot practice with Abuela after all. Edmund has run out of his favorite seeds, so Mommy and I have to ride the bus downtown to buy more. Sometimes there are kittens sleeping in the pet shop windows, but when we arrive this time, something even better is behind the glass. Wonder what it is. Look, I say, the window has become a jungle filled with birds. All right in the middle is a parrot staring at us with black bean eyes. I press my nose to the glass, thinking of the red feather Abuela gave me. Let's buy him, I tell Mommy. But Mia, you already have Edmund, Mommy says, the hamster. Oh, not for me, I say, for Abuela, like the parrot that lived in her mango trees. He can keep her company when I'm at school. Remember, as I read, if you have a question, I want you to write it down. Try and find at least 2 questions extra, and we'll share them out tomorrow in our open session. When we bring him home to Abuela, she says, un loro, a parrot. We named him Mango because his wings are green, orange, and gold like the fruit. During the day, Abuela teaches him how to give beaky kisses and to bob his head when she sings Los Politos to him. Buenos tardes, Mango, Abuela says, opening his cage door when I get home from school. Good afternoon, I say, and give him a seed. Soon, Mango calls to me even before we open the cage. Buenas tardes, he says when I open the door. Good afternoon. So now the parrot's learning too. Abuela, Mango, and I practice new words every day. Mi español gets faster, and Abuela and Mango learn the days of the week, all the months of the year, and the names of coins. How did he learn all that? Papi asks when we show him all that Mango can do. Abuela winks at me and gives Mango a piece of banana, peel and all. Practice, she says. Sounds like they have a growth mindset, right? They just keep trying. Before long, Abuela asks me how to say harder things too, so she can talk with the neighbors who stop by. Has the mailman come? It is chilly today. Can I get you some cookies and lemonade? Soon, when friends stop by to see Mango's latest tricks, they can understand everything Abuela says. I'm also wondering if her Spanish has gotten better. But best of all, now that Abuela and I are lying next to each other in our beds, our mouths are as full of things to say. I tell her about my buen dia and show her my best pintura of mango. What's a pintura? A painting? Yeah. Abuela reads my favorite book with only a little help, and she tells me new stories about Abuelo, who could dive for river stones with a single breath and weave a roof out of palms. I draw pictures for her. She still misses their old house, she says, but now only a little bit. Maybe you're wondering why she only misses it a little bit. Mango listens to us from his perch until my eyes grow heavy. Hasta mañana, abuela, I say. Abuela kisses me. Good night, Mia. Hasta mañana. Good night, Mango calls. And soon, we all fall asleep. Okay, readers. So today we learned about how readers think more deeply about their books by asking questions. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. And today and every day as you're reading, I want you to think about questions you can ask yourself as you read to deepen your understanding. We can't wait to hear about your questions you have about your books and about this book in our live session tomorrow. Bye, readers.